Hello, I'm Sean Bishop, Director of Bishop Instruments and Bows, and this is What's New January 2026. Now, I've been away in Australia for a month, so I'm just getting back into all the violins and instruments and bows that I've picked up over the last month or two, stuff that's come back to me from my restorers or setups and things like that, and got a nice selection here of really great stuff. This should have been the December Christmas video really, because there's some nice things. Let's do violins. Let's start from newest to oldest. That's probably the best. Right, so we've got here a great violin by Melvin Goldsmith. Melvin is one of the UK's greatest living makers, and I've known Melvin for over 20 years, 25 years. Oh goodness me, we're all getting old. And his making has gone from strength to strength, to the point where now I believe his order book is closed. You can't get one. He's got too many people wanting instruments. This is a beautiful violin modelled on Turin Guadagnini that was owned by Jack Liebeck. And this is a sort of, I believe Melvin made this to look 50 years old or a little bit less. So it's not fully antiqued. It's a nice level of antiquing, shall we say. Just, you know it's a new violin, but it's got something about it. And the model, I love Guadagnini models. 1785 Turin Guad style. And beautiful two-piece back. Sounds incredible. And I got this off a friend of mine who has already a few Goldsmith instruments. And he upgraded a violin with me, has a beautiful viola now from my shop, which sounds fantastic. And part payment was this violin. And what I like about this, just quickly, the pegs are Violin pegs. Those beautiful ornate, if you can just see here, I'll just sort of show you there. And there was only 3 of them when Melvin bought them. He found them, I think at an auction in a box. And so he made the 4th peg. So it's quite fun trying to work out which is the original peg, which is the copy. But a lot of serious carving went into that peg to make it complete the set. But a beautiful violin. I will just quickly play it. Why not? And you can hear, but very open. Really sounds good. I know normally people watch this, so I'll just talk a bit about things. While I was in Australia, it reaffirmed in a few more years, my youngest son will be finishing at home with me, and so I'll be footloose and fancy free, and I'm an Australian, so I'm going to be working in Australia 2, 3, 4 months a year. I'm going to be buying a place in Melbourne, and I'm going to set up my shop in Melbourne from my home in Melbourne. So I'll do, 4 months in Australia. I'll do 2 trips a year. And I intend to bring out a lot of my stock. As you all know, I've got a lot of violins. So I'm going to try and keep half of my stock in Australia, so I can enjoy the summers there and less of the winters here. But yes, so that's for any Australian out there wondering, because I don't think it's, I've gone to Australia a lot over the last 30 odd years since I've been living in the UK. And I feel Australia could do with my expertise, and I've already sold to many great players there, the concertmaster of the Sydney Symph. I've got principal violas in Sydney, Adelaide, and Melbourne have bought violas off me, and bows, and I've got stuff everywhere out there. So it'd be nice to be involved in the Australian music scene again. So there we go, small digress. Right, let's get back to the instruments. The next one we have is a Della Corta of Naples. Beautiful violin. I'm lucky I've got 3 of these, and I've got 2 that are the twin. This is the twin to another one. The other one I have is a dark version, but this is a beautiful violin, circa 1860. We don't really know that much about Della Corta, apart from being Naples. I think he was involved in training Tedesco. Sonnino might have been involved in there for a little while. I'm not sure who Della Corta trained with, because he's older than Postiglione. But anyway, that's a really beautiful violin of his I've got, so I'll just play a few notes. Haven't had that set up yet, so that's got to be set up by my guy. Next violin, next cab off the rank. Violin by Enrico Ceruti, the son of Giuseppe Ceruti, who was himself the son of Giovanni Battista Ceruti. I think that's how it goes. He is regarded as the last of the great Cremonese makers. And this is a very rare violin made in 1840 with an original label. Look at that back. Isn't that back just gorgeous? Very interesting violin, you know. I have a violin, I own a violin from 1849. So it's nice to get a violin from 1840. And I showed this to Dimitri Gindit, and he was impressed. Of course, he wrote the book on the late Cremonese makers, of which Enrico features heavily at the end. And this is a really stunning example of his work, and very quirky, very simple scroll, elegant, very elegant back, strange sort of placing of the Fs on the angles, slightly pinched inwards the violin. You know, it's not a classical Cremonese model, it's not a Stradivari model, certainly. It's a mixture of everything, really. It's yeah, sort of a hybrid, but a beautiful violin, you know, and cheaper than a Violin, you know, of the same period. So, do you want to go Cremona or do you want Paris? I mean, I like them both, so don't quote me on that. But have a listen. It's New Year's resolution, more viola practice. I've got to fix up my shifting. It's all over the place. Beautiful violin that though, Enrico Ceruti of 1840. Right, we've got a viola, one viola, who's a maker, it's a 20th century maker that I really enjoy, and I've always liked his work, Giuseppe Lucci. And so he's one of the last of the famous 20th century makers. He was based in Rome. Made this in 1979. It's a 42 centimeter back, so 16.5 inch viola, and comes with a lot of paperwork from Lucci when he made this for a collector in Australia. He made a violin, the viola. The collector wanted a cello, but Lucci said no way. At this stage, Lucci was quite old in 1979 because he was making from the 40s. I think he trained a bit with the Biziac family, Pietro Borghi, who's quite a rare maker. But really neat work, and you do find there's a lot of fakes out there, an awful lot of fakes. They're stamped there with some fissures, internally stamped as also. But this is nice because, like I said, it has original paperwork. And I got it from Australia, came from the sort of the second owner in Australia. So I'm the third from when it was made. But really nice viola. I like that sort of clean workmanship. And funny enough, I wrote to, well, not to Lucci, to his son-in-law, who was also a Macchini, Rudolfo Macchini, in the early 90s when I was in Australia. I don't know, I just wrote to him about violas, and he quoted me at the time. Seemed quite a lot of money. But some people say a lot of the his instruments, well, the late Lucci's are made by him. But anyway, these things happen, don't they, in Italy? Nice viola. I'll play with a violin bow, but you get the idea. Nice. Definitely the wrong bow to use. Let's talk about bows. Right. I've got two beautiful 19th century French bows here. We'll start with this one. It's not on my website yet, but it will be very soon. Nicolas Maline. This is a beautiful bow by the great Parisian maker, made I think 1850, in very fine condition, beautiful head. It's almost Picard. Actually, both these bows, they're very interesting. They're so this one is a Simon with the wrong frog and button of the period, and both heads have a real dash of Picard about them. Anyway, the Nicolas Maline, great maker, beautiful bow, 60 grams exactly. Same with my Simon, and they play really well. They're not cheap, I'm afraid to say. They've never been cheap, but really nice silky playing and strong enough too. The other bow, like I just said, is the Pierre Simon. Oh God, they're building works. Quickly, there's a Simon, wrong frog and button, but it's more affordable that way. So anyway, there's a few things for January. We'll see you in February when the building works are finished. All the very best. Bye-bye.